Hey everybody, I'm Ethan James with HONESTCARPENTER.com, and in this video I'm going to show you how to remove interior trim on a house. In this case I'm going to be removing a piece of chair rail that needs to get taken off, recut, and scarfed with another piece, but these tips will apply to basically any piece of interior trim in your house that you need to remove. And I'll mention a couple other tips when working around drywall, because this piece has a second wooden piece behind it, and that makes working it just a little bit different. So the first and absolute most important step for removing interior trim and some exterior trim is to cut the caulk lines. Pretty much all visible seams on interior trim has been caulked. If the painters were good, you need to very lightly score this caulk with a very sharp utility knife. Don't hurt yourself doing this. Just score that caulk line without scarring the trim. It's easy to run overboard and cut the trim. Don't do that. Keep the point of the knife directly in the caulk seam. Do this for the underside as well, and the ends if they're caulked, both ends. Always cut first with the utility knife. The next step is to start the removal with what we call a painter's tool or a 5-in-1. This is probably the most useful tool in carpentry. I carry it with me everywhere. It has a beveled blade that's about 1.5 inches wide, and it makes it really easy to put it right on that cut line you just made with your utility knife. Take a hammer and tap, and it'll pry very gently behind the piece. And you can see this gap forming. I'm going to take this and tap really about every foot or so, very carefully, making sure again that I don't damage the trim or the second piece of trim behind. And it'll begin to pry that piece away from the second piece that's holding it on. Here you can see I've worked my way down to the other end. I got a clean line all the way down. I didn't gouge or bruise any trim. And now I can begin applying just a little more force, working back the other way. You want to especially find any location where there's a nail and pry where the nail is. And I'll begin to just create more separation between these two pieces. And pretty soon I'll get it to the point where you can hear the nails creaking and popping. And then typically I switch over to a little trim pry bar and use that to get work back there. And again, without trying to damage or bruise anything behind it, always keeping in mind where the pressure from the tool is. I just begin to rock the piece out. And then we'll go down the line doing this. I can also carefully switch over to a hammer to pry, and keep in mind that the pressure that I'm prying from is in an area that's going to be covered up. You don't want that pressure somewhere else. It'll bruise this wood, it'll bruise the wall. You only want to exert pressure in an area that's going to get covered up. So I gave the piece a good pry with the hammer, and you can see it really just kind of wanted to jump off the wall there. At this point I put all my tools down, and usually using both hands, just grab the piece and begin to work it out. Make sure the other end isn't levering into anything else. You can break two pieces of trim that way. Just with even pressure, pop it off. And then you always want to go down and see if there are any nails sticking out, like right here, and I will pull those out with the nail puller. Don't drive them through, because it'll leave little scars on the face that looks really good right now. Instead, take a nail puller and pull them out from the backside. I'll show that real quick. When I say nail puller, I mean this tool right here. Some carpenters call it a nipper. Sometimes that's what you'll buy it under that name online if you go looking for it. We always call them nail pullers. It's got this large jaw on the end. And you just kind of grab the nail from behind and it'll pry right out. If it fights you, get a grip a little further in and try prying again. It should come right out. Go ahead and do that for every nail that's exposed. And you can do it for any nails that are left on the wall, the drywall, or any additional casing. Got my piece fully removed, everything's cleaned up, that's it. That's how you remove interior trim. As I said, drywall is a little different because it bruises more easily even than other wood does. You want to spend extra time cutting these caulk lines and extra time working your way up and down with the 5-in-1 tapping in. And remember, always keep your prying pressure on the inside of something that's going to get hidden. Don't pry real hard against this unless you use some sort of block to pry against, and even then you can run into trouble. But just very slowly, going slowly is the key to taking off casing. Don't damage your casing, don't damage a wall or anything that's visible. Clean the nails out, don't let people step on them. If you put down a piece of trim with a nail sticking out, somebody will inevitably step on it. I've stepped on 3 nails working as a carpenter, and so you always learn to take them out. That's how you remove interior trim. Thanks for watching HONESTCARPENTER.com, and please hit like and subscribe below. Thanks. Starting in October 2018, thehonestcarpenter.com will begin offering live video consultations through our website. To get your contracting, real estate, and home-related questions answered by a reliable trade professional, just visit thehonestcarpenter.com and book a consulting session. We hope to hear from you soon.